Hi, I'm Peter Birch. We're here today with Kyle to have a look around this crocodile facility. It's absolutely smoking hot here in Jupiter, down in Florida. I mean, show us around, Kyle.
Yeah, let's get in here. So this is the grow out areas.
Yep.
As you can see, but this is actually an adult African dwarf crocodile, and that's the biggest size they get.
It's a great place to start because these are my favourite of all the crocodilians, and they typically don't get as big as that. I've seen them a little bit smaller than that.
That is a big male. I mean, in retrospect, I mean, females can be half the size of that. It's amazing.
Look at the size of this place. How could you not have gators, I guess? I mean, they're a local iconic species.
And being hooked up with the sanctuary, I mean, I usually get the gators that he doesn't want.
I don't think they like the camera guy.
If you look here, usually she's not out.
All
but,
right.
She'll give us a rare glance. This is a New Guinea crocodile.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Beautiful.
See what else we can conjure up.
So I guess it's the hottest part of the day, which is probably not always the best part to
yeah, a lot of people think that, you know, crocodiles love the heat. They really don't. You know, they got a thermoregulator like any other reptile. So in the heat of the day, they're usually in the water. Let's see what we can. I'm sure this guy will be up.
Oh yeah, look.
This is a
just chilling there.
young male saltwater crocodile. Come on. Come on, boy. I think he's on.
There he is.
Come on. Come on, boy. Come on. Come on. Come on. Good boy.
Hey.
Come here. I'll grab the French whip.
Something
That's already happened before.
salt water. How do you gauge the saltwater crocs compared to the majority of the crocodilians you've got?
From what I've seen is they grow the fastest. They are, by far as you can see, they're a very aggressive species. But with that, I love them because they have such a personality to them.
They're definitely smart. I mean,
They are.
Crocodiles are probably a lot smarter than most people think.
Nothing in here.
I mean, you're lucky enough to work with a large variety. I mean, look at that. That's a pretty interesting looking little
Yeah, this is a
crocodilian.
Mesetops cataphractus, the African slender-sided crocodile.
Wow.
And there's only about 200, 250 left in the wild of this species.
That's pretty sad. And the aim with these guys is obviously to build up a decent captive population?
It's all about assurance colonies as well as weed introduction programs.
Yep.
So it's a little bit of everything.
And you can see the tooth popping through the top of the snout there.
And you really got to be careful transporting these animals too with that such a slender snout. It's amazing that they're so brittle. I mean, you can easily break them off. So what you actually do is wrap styrofoam around the snouts at times for transport, so they're a lot safer that way. They're nothing like a Nile or a saltwater crocodile with that big beefy head.
Yeah, big chunky head, big sort of robust snout. Now, this guy here. Hey buddy. Is that a Chinese alligator?
This is. Yep.
Here we go. Got underneath.
Come here, come on. Oh.
So Chinese alligator, you know, that's another species that's pretty endangered in its natural habitat.
There's about only 150, 200 left in the wild of that species.
That's pretty sad. And you were speaking earlier saying that they haven't been bred in America in captivity for 17 years?
I believe 17 years, yeah.
Was the last time?
So there's very few in the United States as well. And that's an adult female.
And I guess the greatest risk that a particular species like this faces is the genetic issue. Such a small genetic pool to work with, to be able to
and that's
reproduce
also the
numbers.
problem with the United States. You're only working with a limited amount of individuals. So it's all about figuring out what genetics are on these animals so you can breed certain animals together to produce the best genetics.
Keep the genetic diversity. Yeah. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. So much.
If you look here, you can see him in there. That's an adult male brown caiman, the Fuscus.
So the caimans are actually closer related to alligators and crocodiles.
And this is actually Caiman crocodilus fuscus. It's a subspecies of the spectacled caiman, the common caiman. As you can see, it's that just lighter tan coloration.
And how big do those guys get?
They get about, the males get about 6 to 7 feet.
So they're still a decent size?
Yeah, yeah.
For a caiman, they're a decent
For a caiman, yes.
I think most people, or most Australians would think caimans are 2 to 3 feet.
Oh, really?
They don't realise they actually get to a decent size.
And then this is in the big.
They definitely want to say hello.
I love the coloration on them as well.
So it's a PNG animal. Yep.
Yep.
One would think that this is a feeding platform.
You think, right?
The way they react. So do you feed them off tongs? Do you just drop food in?
No, drop food in. I feed them rabbits, rats, chicks. Yeah, I love her eyes.
Beautiful.
Those green eyes. Yeah, they get rats, rabbits, chicks, quail, and croc chow. Okay. You know, a lot of people do chicken, but if you think about it, chicken, there's very little nutrients in chicken itself. So I try to stay away from chicken as much as I can. And also the hormones can affect them. Supposedly they can make them sterile.
Is it true? I've heard a few people talking about when you're feeding the crocodiles to simulate them to breed in captivity, they really need whole-bodied prey items rather than the pellets and bits and pieces.
Yeah. From what I've heard is that from what I've seen too with the 2 Niles out there, I mean they were fed chicken most of their life, and they wouldn't produce at all. Yep. And I've had them a year and a half here, and I've fed them whole prey the whole time, and it's all about the gut contents. I mean, you know, just the variation of what they're intaking. So, with that, I think the fertility really benefits that way.
Wow. Well, it's smoking hot in here, and I know you've got some stuff outside, so we'll have a quick look out there.
Sure, let's do it.
Okay, we're outside in the bigger pens, the breeding pens, right?
Yeah, so these are adult pair of Niles that I've had for a year and a half, and these are the ones that produce the 23 babies that I got this year.
I mean, this is a decent sized enclosure. What's the sort of the dimensions?
Let's see, it's 80 by 50.
And you got 2 sections.
Yeah.
Yeah. For a particular reason?
You know, I had it just that side, but then I left this gate open for a weekend, and it's amazing how much they use this area. So I said, you know, it was never being used, so I thought I'd leave it open for them, and they actually nested in this area, and they come up here quite often. So, you know, I really think they benefit from a lot of land area.
And I mean, a few of the crocodile places I've been to, they've always had small ponds, small land areas. They almost sort of, much smaller than this. We're talking probably 6 by 6, so 6 metres by 6 metres, which is probably 30 feet by 30 feet, which is still a tiny area considering the size of these animals.
And even then, I mean, the new facility will have a lot larger enclosure for these animals. So I mean, even in this regard, you know, I feel it's too small for them.
And I noticed the fence has got this little top section across the top, so obviously
you don't need it, but you know, it's just insurance. You know, I've heard a lot of stories, and I've seen them dig, I've seen them climb, so you know, it just helps me sleep better at night. Oh yeah, definitely. Now the water. Yep. The water's obviously heated, so you got a bit of luxury here. Yeah, so in Florida, South Florida here, the water comes out of the ground at 76 degrees. Yep. So I just run that year round to cool it off in the summer and then keep it warm in the winter. Wow. And as you can see, this was a square pond, and they made all these little wallows.
And it dug right up to the fence.
Which hit the fence underneath the ground. And that's the reason I put it underground.
And the fence does go in, right?
Oh yeah, it's 2 foot.
I've seen a few other places that actually burrow under the fences. The fences collapse because they're not going into the ground. But like you said, these go down, what, 2 feet? Yeah, and that's the thing is what I've learned too is keep the water away from the fence for the new facility. You know? Yeah. Come on, boy. Come on. Come on, boy. Come on. Come on, boy. Come on. Come on. So that is a really light-colored Porosus. Just saltwater back into the water there.
It's amazing, even with that light coloration, how well he's hidden.
He just disappears right in there. Huge, man, huge, and this is one big private endeavour. Hey, here we go. One big private endeavour by yourself at the moment.
Yeah. See, it's amazing how they know when we're walking away or when their last chance to strike. So they really take that opportunity and launch out of the water.
And he's gorgeous.
He is.
And I'm a firm believer that the animal skins always look better on the animals. I mean, it sort of upsets me a little bit when you see it. I mean, I understand the fact that in the early days it was done to preserve these beautiful creatures. But look at this mammoth.
And that's the thing too, is with the skin trade, you know, a lot of the crocodilian species are still around today because they saw use in these animals.
Yeah.
Where before they just saw them as a nuisance.
Yep. Make it worth some money, and then people want to look after it a little bit more.
So this is a big old alligator, American alligator. And I mean, down in South Florida here, they're common as can be, but they're just so impressive, these animals. And they're like puppy dogs. I mean, you call them and they come right to the gate. So that's the beauty of the big alligators.
Wow.
Come on, boy. Come on. Come on, boy. Come on, boy. Come on. Let's see if I can get him to run over here. Come on, boy. Come on. Come on. Come on, boy. Come on. Come on, boy. Come on. Come on.
If you didn't see that, you wouldn't believe it. It's not a tame animal at all.
Come on. Come on.
So much to see, Kyle. Absolutely amazing.
But yeah, what's amazing too is, you know, he was never associated with people, and no one ever fed him or whatnot. And within a week, I mean, he was doing exactly this. Once he learned I gave him food, he comes right to the gate. So that's the dangers of feeding alligators and why why people are so strict about it.
And I guess the other thing too is, I mean, alligators are a lot more placid compared to all the other crocodilians. In captivity, they become even more docile, more adept to handling. People see that, they take that on board, then when they go out and see them in the wild, they actually try to jump these things and grab them and realise that they're actually a giant ball of energy.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
And they're just going to kick your butt. You know? It's so sad to see that happening all the time.
Yep. I mean, it took probably a dozen guys to really wrangle this animal and move it here, so it's amazing how strong these animals are.
Well, thanks so much for your time today, Kyle.
Yeah, thanks
really
for coming.
Appreciate it. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. I love crocodiles. Make sure you check these guys out. They're doing work with Bush's Wildlife Sanctuary. In other words, they're taking animals that are injured and rehabilitating them. He's also doing work with Camp Kennan, my good buddy, Kennan Harkin. Make sure you hit us up on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Make sure to leave a comment below. Check these guys out. Follow their links. Until next time, Kyle and I will still cruise around checking out crocs here. Thanks for watching CrittaCam.